Got a question for you. What does a runner and a kayaker and a pianist have in common? And this isn't a joke, although it sounds like it's a setup for a joke. Well, let's look at the kayaker for a minute. The kayaker has an oar on a grip with the right hand and a grip with the left hand and is making a motion like this. He's applying a downward force into the water and pulling in this direction toward him, and the kayak is going forward as an equal and opposite force. The force of the direction toward the kayaker with the right hand causes a force forward of the kayak, and because of the weight of the body, the kayak will tilt a little bit over to the counterclockwise direction from that force. And likewise, with the left hand, the kayak will pull with the left hand, causing a force toward him, causing the kayak to go forward in an equal and opposite reaction, and a rotation of the kayak a little bit over into the clockwise direction and to the right. So he will have this kind of a motion. This is an elliptical pattern. It's an ellipse, and it's an ellipse both in the horizontal longitudinal plane, but it's also an ellipse in the vertical longitudinal planes, an ellipse this way, up and down, up and down. So it's a three-dimensional elliptical pattern. Now, let's look at the runner. The runner, here's the two legs of a runner, right? So the runner is pushing one leg forward and pushing the leg back, causing the body to go forward while also landing on the next foot. So the runner is also coming down and going back, pulling back, causing the body to go forward, pulling back with the foot and the leg, causing the body to go forward. So in that sense, the kayaker and the runner have the same equal and opposite force going on, and the impulsive action of the impulse forces on each side with a forward-backward thrust. What about the pianist? Now, let's first talk about the mechanical action of the hammer on the strings. If we just press a note, we know that the way the action is designed, the whippen and the lever, the hammer comes up and it comes off the string automatically, regardless of whether we leave our finger down on the key or not. And you can see, maybe I'm showing the action right there. You can see it quickly comes right off. So does it matter that we imitate the motion of the kayaker or the runner, and that we've got to get off? In that sense, no. But in another sense, yes. If we are pulling this way with let's just do a tremolo. Now, one traditional school of thought of practice in piano would be to just lay the hand here and do this, and maybe not even move the wrist, just do it with the fingers, go up, down, up, down, up, down. The natural tendency for a release is for the hand to come off the key, although it doesn't have to. It could stay on the key, but it will naturally want to just rebound because the force of the key back into the finger will naturally want to cause the finger to come up. Now, that's a release of the tension of the downforce in the finger. Another way that I've been discussing is the pulling action. So when the pull occurs, what happens is the pull is a natural release, because when it goes down and is pulled toward you, the key comes off and it's naturally released up, so that you don't have to think about lifting it up to come off of it. And you can stay right on the surface of the key. Go louder, go softer, louder, go softer. Now notice what I'm doing is I'm just laying my hand, my two fingers on the keys, and I'm not having to even think about lifting them off and releasing, because the release is part of the action of the pulling of the key toward you. Now, what also happens because of the pulling action, just like with the kayaker or the runner with the feet, is that it also causes this so-called elliptical pattern. It's an ellipse in the longitudinal horizontal plane and an ellipse in the longitudinal vertical plane up and down this way. Is another aspect would be that it causes the wrist to flex, where it's very possible in the traditional school of playing where the wrist is kind of locked, although no teacher will tell you to lock your wrist, that you can just lay your wrist still and do this. Yes, you can, but if you do this action, the wrist flexes and the arm flexes. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you can go at a great speed doing that flexing. And the advantage of that is that it doesn't really, first of all, slow you down. Secondly, it keeps the muscles lubed and agile all the time. And third, it facilitates in this pulling action of the key, the force vector toward you, force vector toward you. And it creates the ellipse all at the same time, a natural motion for any kind of physical motion and physical movement, as Newton said, for the entire universe is governed by elliptical motion and periodicity.